Morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 640. Happy Tuesday. Happy Major League Baseball trade deadline Tuesday. Coffee's a little slow brew this morning. Might have to run some vinegar, which I do have on hand because I've been pickling. I don't know if I shared this. I know I shared that I made pickles last week, but I tried them. So I was making a spicy pickle recipe for a friend of mine who enjoys them in Bloody Marys. And last year, I freaking nailed the recipe. Now, I don't really follow. Basically, what I do is I Google recipes, and then I kind of add my own twist to them. And last year, I nailed it. This year, I didn't so much. I think I put too much dill. I think I'm going to leave the dill out, so I'm going to have to make a new batch because these are they're good, but it's not what I intended. So I made accidentally good dill pickles, basically. They're good. They're just not, there's just not much of a kick to them, despite there being jalapenos inside. So I think I'm going to have to put more. I may just have to, I think what I may do, basically I de-seeded all the jalapenos and just put just a little bit of jalapeno, left a little bit of the seeds in, which provides the spice. So I think what I'll do is maybe just put, instead of 3 jalapenos that are de-seeded, put 1 jalapeno seeded, if that makes any sense. And probably leave the dill out because there's just too much dill taste. So that's my plan. I've got another batch of cucumbers waiting to be pickled in the fridge. So I do need to tackle that here soon, like probably tomorrow. And then I will have to pick another batch. My cucumbers are growing like crazy. My tomatoes are starting to turn. I'm excited because typically only my cherry tomatoes. I have really great crop of cherry tomatoes every year, but it's the larger tomatoes that I just get very like a few. Like I'll plant 2 or 3 large tomato plants. I get a ton of fruits, but they either get diseased or they just don't turn. So that's where I'm at. But I've got 2 that are turning on the plant. So, and like can be picked. And I know you're supposed to pick them before they turn red or even orange, I guess, or when they start getting that orange color, then you can. What's really cool is I had a cherry tomato just drop onto the ground and it was green. And then like 2 days later, it was bright red. I think I don't know. That fascinates me. I know that sounds dorky and odd that I would get a kick out of that, but I do for some reason. Let's go to the chat. What is up? Enough pickle talk this morning. Herman is with us. Good morning. By the way, a great discussion last night on Herman and Ken's channel. Dan jumped in. Zach was there. So check it out on 3B Collections channel, talking trading card database. George is getting ready to go on a plane. I think George is still in Korea, but he's flying out of there. So safe flight for George. Ed, good morning to you. Jenny, good morning. Hobby Universe, what is up? So I won't be joining today. LOL. That you're excused. That's good. Safe travels to you. Let's see who's in that photo. So the thumbnail, since today is trade deadline Tuesday, the person in the photo of my thumbnail is Chicago Cubs catcher Willson Contreras, who probably at the end of the day will no longer be a Chicago Cubs catcher. He's there's a lot of he's a free agent at the end of the year. I get it. I want them to re-sign him. I love Willson. He's probably my favorite Cub on the current roster. But I get it. It's a business decision. He doesn't want to, he's not talking contract during the season. So he's going to be a free agent. And the Cubs will have to negotiate with him anyway at the end of the season, and the Cubs are not anywhere close to. I mean, they're far closer to the number one draft pick than they are a wild card playoff spot. So you might as well get something for him, and it's going to be. I think they're going to get a decent haul for Willson Contreras. So that's who's in the photo. That photo was taken in a Denny's parking lot, and I know I've shared the story before, but it was during the Chicago Sports Spectacular a couple years ago, pre-COVID, so probably would have been 2000. There's snow in the photo, so that would have been November of 2019. Although in Chicago, the March show, there's usually probably snow during the spectacular in March as well. But I think that I'm pretty sure that was the November show before the last show before COVID hit. So November of 2019. Willson Contreras was a signer at the spectacular. Me and my buddy Dave, we were staying at like some crap motel right next door to the Denny's. And I told him, never again, you're not in charge of the hotels anymore. But he is. So we go to Denny's for breakfast. It was a delicious breakfast. I need to get to Denny's more often. Denny's has a great breakfast. I had a banana. I'm a big banana fan. I love bananas, and I love banana flavor. The only thing I don't like is banana flavored candy. That just doesn't. But I love banana milkshakes from Dairy Queen. Freaking love them. I love banana pancakes. Especially the whipped cream and maybe a little caramel or something. Ooh, so good. Denny's, great breakfast. I need to get back. Anyway, there's probably 3 miles down the road. So we go to Denny's for breakfast. Delicious. We're paying, and all of a sudden I look out the window, the Denny's window, into the parking lot, and I see who I think to be Chicago Cubs catcher Willson Contreras walking in with his wife. Makes sense. He's signing just down the street. We're like 2 blocks from the Donald Stevens Convention Center. Willson walks in. It is Willson Contreras. Nobody notices him except me. And he walks in, and I notice that nobody else notices, and I don't want everybody else to notice because I'm done with my breakfast. I want him to enjoy his meal because he's got to go deal with a bunch of fans at the convention center in an hour. So I just kind of subtly gave him a fist bump like, hey, we're old buddies and neighbors that ran into each other at Denny's. So just like, hey, man, boom. And I think he appreciated that because it didn't draw attention. It was just like 2 dudes doing a little fist bump. Hey, what's up, man? Long time no see. I'm out the door. Wilson's going to sit down for some breakfast. We get back to the hotel, which is like right next to the Denny's. So it's like the next building over. And we're getting ready for our day at the spectacular. My buddy goes, should we go wait for Willson and try to see if he'll sign? And I'm like, I've got a couple, like I have 2 baseballs. I have 2 signed baseballs of Contreras. And I think that's all besides like autos that you would pull from a pack. I'm like, I'm good. Like I don't have anything to sign. I don't need a 3rd baseball. But I'd get a picture with him. I've never had a picture taken with him. Although no, I did at Club 400. But anyway, I'm like, nah, I don't want to be creepy and stalk him in the parking lot. That's weird. And then I'm like, why not? We got nothing else to do. Let's just go be unassuming in the parking lot. So we walk over there. We waited a few minutes. It's like, it's going to take a while. He was like just sitting down. He was coming in as we were leaving. So it's one of those things like, let's time it out a little bit. It's cold. It's snowy. So we waited a few minutes. We went out. We kind of like stalked the parking lot. Like, what would Willson Contreras drive? It's got to be the nicest car in the parking lot, right? He's a millionaire. So we found what we thought to be his car. It was. Shocker, right? Him and his wife come out. We're like, hey, man. I'm like, hey, can I get a picture? I figured that would be instead of my buddy going, hey, can you sign this baseball for me when you're going to be across the street signing for $200 a pop in an hour, I figure I could go in subtle with the picture request and be like, hey, man, can you do a selfie? Hopefully he appreciated that I didn't draw attention to him inside the restaurant. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Super nice guy. Willson Contreras, one of my favorite players. Probably my favorite player on the current roster. Javi was always my number one. Willson was my number two. Willson Contreras, we're going to miss him. Hopefully the Cubs can re-sign him in the offseason because I do want him to be our catcher of the future. So he took a selfie with me, which you see on this thumbnail to this video, in the Denny's parking lot. And he did sign a baseball for my buddy Dave. So he was super accommodating, friendly, talkative. He was awesome. Love Willson Contreras. Hate to see him get traded, but it's probably going to happen today. So we're going to talk Major League Baseball trade deadline today. So, Jenny, another long story. Short question made long with the answer. That's who's in the photo. Victor's with us. What is up, Victor? Royals 417 in the house. Good morning to you. Paige and Dina Bean, good morning. Where are we at? Brian, Ginger Wisdom in the house. The video quality is top notch today. That's good. I like to hear that. I didn't do anything, so it's just luck of the draw this morning. Waiting for Bowman U to wreak havoc. There's see right there. There's maybe the Wi-Fi is getting through that little opening. That's where the Wi-Fi connection, little Wi-Fi connection opening for Bowman U. Cooter, what is up? Good morning, Bo of the North. John Evans, good morning to you. Jenny says you can pick your tomatoes before they are red and just leave them in the sunshine. They'll turn red. Sometimes I have to because otherwise they disease on the plant. Yeah, that's what I've run into. And I didn't start doing that until like a year or two ago. I always just let them rot on the plant itself. Then I learned my lesson. Let's see. And Porter made an appearance. He did on 3B Collections channel last night. Max says they stinking better move him. Jenny says Soto going to land in Cardinal land. I bet. I hope not. God, I hope not. Contreras can come to Minnesota. He's been rumored to like every team. I think the front runners for Willson Contreras, at least the Mets and Padres have been in the most, I think, the most named teams that are suitors. I think the Texas Rangers, I think I read earlier yesterday, possibly, but it sounds like San Diego and who did I just say? San Diego and New York, the Mets. Willie always has been my number one. Gonna miss him. Freaking love Willie Contreras. That was a great story about Contreras. Thank you, Turkey Cards. What is up? So there was a trade yesterday. Ken Rosenthal. I'm on Ken Rosenthal's Twitter page. So the trade yesterday, Josh Hader, the all-star closer of the Milwaukee Brewers, was sent packing to San Diego. Jenny says people upset about Hader getting traded. No one remembers Andrew Miller. Right. So Josh Hader, and I looked at the numbers, and I tweeted player A, player B. Of course, it's pretty easy just to know who I was talking about after I was showing the trade. So let's see. Player A was Taylor Rogers. So the Milwaukee Brewers traded Josh Hader, all-star closer, to San Diego. I was highly impressed with their haul. They got Taylor Rogers, who was the San Diego closer. Esteury Ruiz, who was called up recently. I'm going to talk about Esteury Ruiz and why I was hoping that if Contreras was sent to San Diego, I wanted Esteury Ruiz as part of the package coming back to the Cubs. Who else? Dinelson Lamet, who has had a rough year this year, but he was top flight a couple of years ago. And who am I missing? The top prospect pitcher, Robert Gasser. So I was highly impressed. I'm like, damn, they got a lot. So Hader still has one plus year of control. He'll be a free agent after next year, but he is in his year 28 season, his age 28 season. So let's look at the numbers. Just let's compare Josh Hader to Taylor Rogers. Josh Hader, 1-4 this year. Now records, I'm just going to throw out all the stats. 1-4, 4.24 ERA, 29 saves, 1.12 whip, and a 3.47 FIP. Now, FIP is field independent pitching, which is a lot of the analytics guys like the FIP better than ERA and WHIP because it's fielding independent. So it shows it's a better statistic to actually show what the pitcher, how successful the pitcher alone, the pitcher independently is outside of, his fielders, not relying on the field. So a 3.47 FIP. Player A, Taylor Rogers. So the Brewers get Taylor Rogers as part of the package for Josh Hader. 1-5 record, 4.35 ERA. So very similar numbers there. 28 saves for the Padres, a 1.11 whip. So very similar numbers, Josh Hader and Taylor Rogers, but look at the field independent pitching stat. Taylor Rogers, 2.35 FIP. That is really, really good. So Taylor Rogers, a 2.35 FIP, and Josh Hader, a 3.47 FIP. The one stat, I'm just going to go to my phone because I don't want my Wi-Fi to go all wonky. I've already got enough windows opened up because Josh Hader is currently in his, age 28 season. Where's Taylor Rogers at? It's trade deadline Tuesday, so that's why I'm talking all kinds of crazy talk this morning. Taylor, that's the wrong Taylor. Taylor, sometimes when I type stuff in, I get too fast. Boom, got it. Taylor Rogers, he is age, he's old, he's 31. Man, I wish I was 31 again. So Taylor Rogers a little older, but it's the package around him. So you basically trade 1 for 1. Essentially, yeah, he has been pretty bad in the last month, Taylor Rogers, but his overall season numbers pretty good. Robert, let's see. Robert Gosser. Now, did I get right? I want to make sure I got the right, because the Padres have 2 Roberts that are pitching prospects. Max mentions Hassel. Or wait, Robert Hassel's not a pitcher, is he? He's a fielder. Robert. So Keith Law. Where's the Keith Law? Keith Law updated the top 60 prospect rankings, and I'm pretty sure he had Robert Gosser, who let's see, Law's trade report. Just leave it there. But Robert Gosser, number 18 on the latest Keith Law top prospects, and he's the top pitching prospect for the Padres. So you get it, a young pitching prospect. I see Max's comment down there, and I'm going to tell you why I like Keith Law. I like all prospect rankings because it gives you a better feel. So where am I at here? Esteury Ruiz. Here's why I like Esteury Ruiz, and it's stupid. So Esteury Ruiz all of a sudden, come out of nowhere this year, just absolutely tore up AA, went to AAA, and continued tearing up AAA. He's a little older. He's old for a prospect. He's been around for a while. Here's why I like him. Panini points. So I opened back in 2017, I think, Black Friday blowout cards. I bought a ton of Elite Extra Edition, and I got a bunch of expired redemptions, and I sent them in, and I was able to get a few. And in fact, I think Ahmed Rosario, I ended up selling. I got the auto, ended up selling it for $75. Now that auto's probably in the dollar box. But there was a bunch of just random guys that I don't think any of them really, did anything. So I reached out to a sales rep from Panini. By the way, if you have, and I know the redemption situation has changed with Panini here within the last couple of weeks, but don't email like customer service at Panini. You're not going to get an answer. If you Google like customer service reps Panini, you're probably going to find, I think the guy that I was emailing back and forth with was named Trent, I think. But he was awesome. He responded right away. He's like, do you want Panini points for your expired redemptions? And I'm like, sure. So I got basically something for nothing. They were, expired by a few years. I think it was like 2013 product. And by this time was like 2018. Anyway, I get all these Panini points and I go shopping on Panini's point website. I picked up a few Cubs. There wasn't really much in terms of Cubs that I wanted, but there were a few, like 5 or 6 Cubs. And then I was just looking like, are there any players that could potentially break out? I was looking on future, not current, because if there's current players that are hot, they're obviously going to cost a lot more points. So there wasn't anything there. But there was a guy out of 2016 or 17, Panini Elite Extra Edition, I think it was 17, a guy by the name of Esteury Ruiz for the San Diego Padres. And it looked interesting. So before I clicked buy, redeem, whatever, I looked up his stats. I liked his build. I liked, his potential. And I thought, why is a guy like Esteury Ruiz, available here on the Panini Rewards points? I ended up buying over 20 with Panini points. So I basically redeemed all of my Panini points, and I was getting of 50 autos, of 75 autos, of 100 autos, like 15 base autos of Esteury Ruiz. In fact, during COVID, I bought a PSA 10 like gold refractor auto for like $40. And Esteury Ruiz, 2020 season canceled, COVID. 2021, now you've had a year off, so it's like, man, Esteury Ruiz. At the time, back in like 2017, Esteury Ruiz was like a fringe top 10 organizational prospect with the San Diego Padres. He was like, depending on which ranking, he was like in the 10. He was basically 11 to 20 for the Padres. Then the Padres made some trades, had some good drafts. Esteury Ruiz moves out of the top 20. Now he's not even a top 30 prospect. COVID hits, and he's like, he might have been injured at some point as well. But he hasn't been in the top 30 prospects. Now he's old for prospects. I think he's 24. I wish I was 24. Calling 24 old. 31's old for a big leaguer, and 24 is old for a prospect. So I've like basically given up on him. I listed my PSA 10. It wasn't gold. It might have been purple. It wasn't a number to fit. I think it was numbered to 250. Maybe it was just a refractor. I don't know. But I paid $40 for it. I'm like, I'm going to put it in my eBay store for $100 and hopefully just kind of like my basketball slabs. Just hopefully I don't lose money on it. And I sent out some offers. Like I ended up, I think, going as low as $75, which basically would make me about a $5 profit after fees and shipping and all that. Nobody took me up on the offer. Minor league season starts. Ruiz is like hitting above 400 in AA. Like in the first month of the season, he was hitting like 410 with like leading the minor leagues in stolen bases, which I know is not a sexy stat for baseball and prospecting, but at least eyes were on him again. And that card sold for $100. So I'm like, hey, I'm happy with this. I'm like, I'm going to list all these Elite Extra Edition. Like now that he's in the news, like I've got to strike while the iron is hot, and made some decent return. I mean, they were expired Panini redemptions that I turned into points that I turned into Esteury Ruiz. Yeah, it took 3 years, 4 years. It was kind of like those old savings bonds. It was like Esteury Ruiz Elite Extra Edition autos were my savings bonds. They were in my stocking one year, and I just had to hold on to them for 20 years or 30 years for them to appreciate. So I think I've sold every single. I think I have them here. My Elite Extra Edition box. Yeah, I've sold single 20 of them. So anyway, he went Esteury Ruiz. That's why I like Esteury Ruiz. And he was part of the return for Josh Hader. He's going to be a Brewer. So it was Gosser, who's a top pitching prospect for the Padres, now the Brewers. Ruiz, and I saw MLB Pipeline's updated rankings. This is why I love MLB Pipeline, because they update the rankings like real time, the organizational top 10s, top 30s in real time. So both Esteury Ruiz and Robert Gosser move into the top 10 of Milwaukee Brewers top prospects. And then so it was Rogers, Ruiz, Gosser, and Dinelson Lamet, who was, competing for a Cy Young just a couple of years ago. He's had a rough season. I think he might have had Tommy John or had an injury in the last couple of years. But it's just kind of like basically a lottery ticket. He could do something. So I was jealous as a non-Brewers fan. I was jealous of that return that Milwaukee received from San Diego for Josh Hader. I got the connection unstable. It's because I was moving around. I was blocking. I was up in the hole, blocking the Wi-Fi from the Bowman U-hole. So let's go into the chat. Where are we at? Jenny says people upset. Okay, we just talked about that. Jenny says, I wonder how Orioles fans feel about Mancini, though, because he was making them look like they could be something along with Austin Hayes. Yeah, Trey Mancini was dealt. Let's see. He was traded to the Houston Astros. What was that deal? And the Astros made some moves yesterday and last night. Trey Mancini had a nice tweet post on Instagram or Twitter. Let's see. So there was actually quite a few movements last night because I'm scrolling through. I'm just on Ken Rosenthal's Twitter feed. Let's see. I'm trying to find that Trey Mancini. Okay, here it is. It was a 3-team deal. Tampa Bay and Houston. So Tampa Bay acquired Jose Siri from the Houston Astros. Trey Mancini went to Houston. Tampa traded Seth Johnson to Baltimore, and Jaden Murray went to Houston in that deal. So that was the trade. So other player going to the Orioles, Chase McDermott. He was the number 12 prospect according to MLB Pipeline in the organization. Houston also acquired Christian Vasquez from the Boston Red Sox. And then the Red Sox traded for Tommy Pham, getting him from Cincinnati. I think there was another Houston Astros trade up here. Let's see. The White Sox made a deal. They got left-handed reliever Jake Diekman. Is it Dykman or Diekman from Boston in exchange for catcher Reese McGuire, because Boston sent, what's his name that I just mentioned? The catcher, Christian Vasquez, to Houston. Let's see. Where are we at? Rosenthal also reports that the Cardinals are on the verge of acquiring Jose Quintana from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brewers also made a deal last night. They get Matt Bush. Wasn't he the first overall pick at one point? I think he has that crazy story. It's a similar story to Josh Hamilton, I believe. So Matt Bush was with the Texas Rangers. He's traded to Milwaukee for Mark Mathias. Antoine Kelly also going to the Rangers from Milwaukee. Let's see. Tigers have traded Robbie Grossman and Chris Anglin. Tigers are getting Braves pitcher Chris Anglin in return for Robbie Grossman. Let's see. Astros and Braves made a deal. Houston gets Will Smith, getting jiggy with it, for Jake Odorizzi. And then the Yankees and Cubs made a deal yesterday. I was pretty happy with the return. Scott Efros, who's a reliever, he's had a good season. And he has 5 years of control. He was traded to the Yankees for Hayden Wesneski. Wesneski he's slotted in the Cubs top 10 now. I think the number 8 now, Cubs prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. He's a pitcher and could be in contention next year for a starting rotation at the back end of the Cubs starting rotation. So I was pretty pleased with getting something like that in return for a reliever like Scott Efros. Yeah, he's got a lot of control. He's had a good year, but he is 28 years old. And basically in baseball, 27, 28 are your peak seasons, and then you start to decline. Unless you're Jamie Moyer and you live forever, or Bartolo Colon or Julio Franco. Let's see. Max says we want Hassel now for Willie. Jenny says, I'm honestly surprised Sano has not been DFA or traded after his latest injury. He's my guy, but he really stinks. Mark Hoyle in the house. Good morning to you. Dollar Box is here. Diego is here. Card Hobbyist in the house. Good morning, all. Max says, gross, anyone but Keith Law. So here's why I like Keith Law. Keith Law and his prospect rankings are completely, it seems like Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, Baseball Prospectus, name your prospect, and it looks like they all just it's like they all have the same 100 names, and then they just basically put them in similar orders. Keith Law is completely different, and I like he's more of a Baseball America, MLB. They're more they rank players more on like how close they are. And that's why you see like players like Jason Dominguez, people say, well, oh my God, how come his values are so high and he's the number 60 prospect in baseball? Well, it's because he's so young. Same with Ellie De La Cruz. But guys like Keith Law will rank those guys higher because they have so much potential. And really, when you look at Baseball America's rankings of a guy like Jason Dominguez or Ellie De La Cruz, it's not fair because they're a lot better than guys like Matthew Liberator. It's like, and that's why go back historically and look at, and I'd like to, and now that I say this, and I don't have time, I'm not going to do it, but I'd like to look at some of Keith Law's rankings, going back. And compare them to some of the Baseball America MLB pipelines, because you go back to any prospect ranking, and I mean, it's a crapshoot. It's, can't miss prospects miss all the frickin' time. So I like the different approach Keith Law takes. So that's why I'm a big fan of reading his stuff, because it's different. And he puts his neck out for these young prospects. And I know why the other publications take a more conservative approach, because how many, can't miss prospects that are at AA and AAA miss a lot. Now multiply that, guys that are 17 and 18 miss way more. So I get the conservative approach most publications take when it comes to prospect rankings. And that's why I like Keith Law, because he doesn't take that approach. Let's see. Diego's back in the house. He's been busy, and he also celebrated a birthday. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says, kindly press those thumbs up. Thank you, Card Hobbyist. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Jenny says, I know, it's great to see you back in the chat. David in the house, good morning to you. He adds, as an Orioles fan, I am sad to see see Mancini traded. Orioles ownership is in a messy place. One of the two pitchers is having Tommy John surgery. Jenny says Yankees got a couple pitchers. Card Hobbyist adds, Astros traded Odorizzi to the Braves for Will Smith. Struggling pitcher for struggling pitcher. Both fan bases happy to see their struggling pitcher leave, right? Let's see. Jenny says, are you spending today uploading Bowman prospect cards to eBay so if the player gets traded? No, and I'll tell you why. Royals 417, really hoping to see the Royals trade a few more today. So, Jenny, here's why I'm not uploading any cards today. I sold bulk. Yes. Craigslist for the win. So I put my just a bulk list, and I've got a couple that I can make. So I'm basically just filling the back of my SUV with commons, and I sell them as, there's going to be cards from the late 70s into last year, but a large majority is going to be 80s and 90s, and it's going to be mostly commons. So, and one guy, he's the kicking dirt guy, the kicking tires. Like, well, I'm kind of, when you take this, and then he asks all the questions. It's like, well, first off, no, the ad has been up for 12 hours, so I'm not going to take half of what I listed it for. Well, it's a long drive for me. Have you thought about shipping? No, I haven't thought about shipping. It's going to cost $800 to. It's going to be a pallet. It's going to cost $400 to $500 to ship that. So no, it's not shipping. Well, 2 hours. It's a 2-hour drive. I don't want to spend half the day. Then you don't want it. You don't want it. It's. I'm not going to hold it. If it's still available when you decide, they ended up deciding, didn't want it, which was probably the best choice. And that's what I get on Facebook Marketplace. So then I'm like, I haven't been, I think Jenny suggested like Craigslist. I think Jenny suggested Craigslist for the Madison Card Show, which I still haven't done. But I'm like, I'm going to put this on Craigslist just to see, because whenever I go on Craigslist, there's nothing like I want. Like, this is the stuff I buy. And here I am selling. But at least I've had the opportunity to look through this stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to put this on Craigslist and see where it goes. Within 12 hours, I get a guy. He's interested. And then he puts his phone number in there, and I'm like, oh man, it's one of those Craigslist scams. So I'm gonna email him back. I'm not gonna text him. Make sure he's a real person. He is. So he's like, text it. I'm like, okay, now that I know you're actually a real person and not a bot scammer, we can text. So we go back and forth, no negotiation. So I'm gonna throw in some extra goodies, some good cards, and some plaques, because of that. That's kind of the incentive to, if you pay full price, I'm going to throw in some extras. If you want to nickel and dime me down, you're going to get what you get. So I'm going to throw in some extra goodies. And I'm happy because I'm getting flooded with bulk down here. So it's going to be nice to get rid of a carload. I still have a few. So today, why I'm not listing on eBay, because I still have probably at least one tub of stuff that I need to bring in from the Goodwill pallet to go through. And I need to fill up the back of my car to sell. So I'm going to get a nice return on bulk commons. Basically, it's going to pay for the last pallet. What I'm getting for this truckload of cards pays for the pallet. So all good there. So that's why I'm not going to be listing any cards. I'll be shipping this morning, and then I'll be running up and down getting cards loaded up so I can take those over this afternoon. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says you also have prospects that are off the radar, come out of nowhere to the top of the prospect list in the span of a year. Soto and Acuna are examples. Nobody knew about them in 2017 and 18. Yeah, that's the fun thing about 2017 Bowman. Ronald Acuna wasn't even the top Braves prospect at the time of release in 2017. That went to Kevin Maitan. I bought a case of that, and I've shared my 2017 Bowman case story many times over. I paid $797 for a hobby case of 2017 Bowman. Now they're like $4,000. Now a current, if you pre-order, if you pre-ordered 2022 Bowman, it was going to cost you like $4,000. And 5 years ago it was $800. Kevin Maitan, Chrome rookie, first Chrome rookie, Kevin Maitan. I sold mine $125 at release. Now, again, remember, boxes were like $60. That was basically like 2 hobby boxes worth. That would be the equivalent, similar to pulling a base auto out of 2022 Bowman Chrome and selling it for roughly $800 or $1,000. So that was a great hit. Masood in the chat. What is up, my man? 5-star cards in the house. Hopefully, looking at the page, it looked like a great national for you guys, and look forward to seeing you August 27th, next Madison Card Show. 5-star cards. Come submit PSA, SGC. I submitted for the very, very first time 5 cards, some tobacco cards for the Cubs collection to SGC. Looking forward to getting them back in those beautiful tuxedos. August 27th is the next Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel. Where is it at? It's on John Nolan Drive. Saturday, August 27th, 9 to 3, free admission, 125 tables. Should be fun. Jenny says, I know your bride is way more excited than you that you sold bulk. Does she take a drink? I sold bulk, LOL. She was. When I told her that, she oh my God, that's awesome. I know. We're running out of space. Let's see. Card collecting addict says, I forgot Craigslist exists. LOL, last time I used it, I ended up in a massage parlor with Deshaun Watson. Wah, wah. I haven't, there's just, there's been a flight to Facebook Marketplace for, I look on Craigslist every once in a while just to find stuff. There's just nothing on there. So maybe that's the way to go for selling bulk, just because, you got to zig when everybody else is zagging. I'm getting tired of Facebook Marketplace for the opposite of Craigslist. There's nothing on Craigslist in terms of bulk. There's a ton of bulk on Facebook Marketplace, but it's all overpriced. It's basically what I have that I'm selling for $500. It's $2,000 and it's the same crap, or more. And it's just like, what's in here? Let's see. Craigslist has a different set of buyers. In my opinion, it's the older school collectors. I think you're onto something with that. I agree. Because there's not a lot of people not a lot of people. A lot of people are on Facebook, but like you said, older school collectors, not many old school collectors are on Facebook, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Example, my dad uses Craigslist. He doesn't do Facebook Marketplace. Jenny says, do you put a Madison Card Show business card in every box you sell? You should see if they cycle back to you in a Goodwill pallet ever. I don't, but I do put a Madison Card Show business card in my Midwest sales on eBay. So if I'm sending something to New York, I don't put a Madison Card Show business card, but I'll put my Hobby Evolution, my YouTube channel business card, with the QR code. I haven't seen, and I started doing that a couple weeks ago. I haven't seen like all of a sudden this surge in subscribers to my YouTube channel, but hey, if I can get a few here and there, it works. Madison Card Show, I put a business card in basically any sale within Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and depending on the spot in Michigan and Indiana. And it worked because I got an email from a guy in Michigan. He goes, hey, I bought something on eBay and your business card show dates were on there. I want to come to the August 27th show. I just want to confirm that it's still going on. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So it works. And I've actually had quite a few people, more than I expected, say, yeah, I bought something from you on eBay and saw the card show. Let's see. Where are we at? Royals 417, election day in Kansas, heading to vote. Enjoy your day. You as well. Diego said, who is Kevin Maitan? So Kevin Maitan was one of those young top prospects, like international signees for the Atlanta Braves. Then there was a tampering case. Maitan was granted free agency because I think Atlanta was negotiating with him before he turned 16. He signed with the Angels. Now he's with the Angels. So I ended up buying. So I sold in 2017 at release. I sold a first Bowman Chrome Kevin Maitan auto for $125. That was in 2017. At the 2021 National, I bought one for $10. And then I think I sold it for $20. So I'm day trading Kevin Maitan autos. Let's see. Jenny says, and if it's not overpriced, it's not even in your state. I know. It's like, oh man, that's the worst when it's like, it's an awesome deal, but it's like 6 hours away or 8 hours away and it's not worth the drive. But it's like, man, if this was in my backyard, I'd be all about it. But I'm not going to spend an entire day and a tank of gas picking up stuff. Jenny says, or it's a room that looks like yours, but you get 100 cards of it. That's the mystery boxes. Oh my God. Facebook is flooded with the stupid, and there's somebody in one of the Facebook groups I'm in that I'm selling my collection, and it's like, let me know what you want. And it's like, oh, no, I want your whole collection. And I want it at a good price. I use Craigslist to sell my Bears tickets. No issues. Very nice. I'm waiting. I'm going to the Cubs game Friday, And I told my buddy last night, I texted him, I'm like, hey, I'm waiting until Wednesday to buy tickets because Willson Contreras and probably Ian Happ will be traded. And I'm hoping that there are at least a few season ticket holders that throw in the towel and put their tickets on StubHub, and I can get cheaper tickets. So that's the goal. And I'm going to a couple games in 2 weeks, the week before the Madison Card Show, and tied in with a Club 400 event on the rooftops. Let's see. John, why do you need a nurse? John needs a nurse. Max says, Maitan is the guy that cost the Braves a ton and was Acuna before Acuna. Yeah, and they were in the same product. Everybody was sleeping on Ronald Acuna and going after Kevin Maitan. Let's see. Dollar Box, I put a business card in every order shipped. It contains a convenient QRC code that goes directly to my YouTube link. I've seen decent growth, so I'm guessing they help. John says, COVID has hit that much maligned hobby hotline team. That dude that hates us put a pox on us. Jenny says, what? Y'all caught COVID at National? John, our friend John, I think he tweeted it. So I think I'm sure he has. But yeah, and it's not, I mean, it's not surprising that COVID's still around. I'm not surprised. It sucks. But it's unfortunately it's still out there. Dollar Box says, I didn't get to a Cubs game this year. This will be Friday will be my first. Haven't been to a game. It's just like, they suck. And there's a premium on tickets, especially in the summer, because most people don't care if the Cubs suck. They go for the experience. And I do too. Like, the Cubs suck. Why do I want to go watch them? I'm not really going to watch the team suck. I'm going for the experience. It's Wrigley, it's Wrigleyville, it's Wrigley Field. It's magical. So that's why I go, even when they suck. But I don't want to pay I don't want to pay full price. I want to get a discount. I want to pay sucky team prorated prices. So that's why I'm waiting. Let's see. Jenny says, oh, dang, I missed that tweet. Feel better, John. Oh, wait, John, that 70s card show. Are you not feeling well? Well, crap. Let's see. Mark says, I went to opening day at Fenway. Haven't been back. Excuse me. Now I got something that caught in my throat. And only one sip of cold coffee left. So I think I about talked about everything trade deadline. I like going to games when the team sucks. John, that 70s card show has it. Ryan Nolan has it. John Newman has it. Holy crap. Half the hobby hotline. Now Bo has it. I got it through the screen. So let's see. Ken Rosenthal tweeted 37 minutes ago, and it is on The Athletic. I'm glad that my Athletic subscription renewed automatically, and I was pissed because I hate auto renew, and I try to always uncheck that when I subscribe to anything. So I was kind of pissed that it auto renewed, because it's like, I forgot I had the Athletic subscription, but now all of a sudden it's trade deadline. And now I'm seeing all these Athletic links, and it's like, oh, hey, I've got an Athletic subscription. Now I'm gassy, belching. So Ken Rosenthal, Juan Soto, will he be traded or won't he? The Padres still seem motivated. The Dodgers are in, but not at the current asking price. God, please, no. I mean, I don't want to say this, but I almost feel like I'd rather Juan Soto be traded to the Cardinals than the frickin' Dodgers. Come on. Go to San Diego. Please go to San Diego. But then a part of me doesn't want him to be traded to San Diego, because I don't want the Cubs to trade Willson Contreras, but they're going to. I want the Cubs to trade with San Diego because they have great prospects that I would like to get in return for Contreras. So it's that conundrum. Let's see. Where are we at? The Cardinals are also in the race. Rosenthal says the Cardinals' intentions are less clear. They have the pieces to get Soto, but might prefer to continue loading up on pitching. And I think they did trade for Quintana, or they are rumored to trade. Oh, here's my guy, Willson Contreras. He could be a fallback for the Padres if they fail to get Soto. So, or he could end up with the Mets if Soto lands in San Diego, perhaps in a bigger deal involving David Robertson, who's a reliever, and he's been in the mix in the trade talks as well for the Cubs, trading him away. Let's see. So there's so that's what's going on the Willson Contreras front per Ken Rosenthal. So I think there's going to be a flurry of deals, but I think we always say that every year at the trade deadline, and then it just kind of wah wah. Although this year we haven't seen big trades leading up to the deadline, where the past several years we've seen a lot of deals take place in June and early July. And then the trade deadline, it's like the trade deadline, you look back and it's like the trade deadline, it's passed. And then you look back and it's like, oh, this trade happened on June 30th. This happened on July 4th. This happened on July 18th. And it's like, oh, there were some really big trades. They just didn't happen on the trade deadline day. Whereas this year, we haven't seen major trades take place in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline. So we could see a flurry. And I think Jeff Passan might have said this could be the wildest trade deadline in decades. Whatever that means, might be a whimper, might be true. I guess we'll see. We've got 8 hours to go to let it play out. John, what is up? John Evans again going to have to leave soon. Exciting meeting incoming. Jenny says, well, I think I better avoid my LCS for a couple weeks. They open tomorrow back from the National. DR, good morning to you. Today was Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. I will listen to the show tonight. Have a great day. Hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate that. John says, what's in that 3,200 count box under the Bowman U? Oh, that's a great question. This one right there. I don't know. Let's see. More Bowman U. So it's marked football 1990s, but I don't think it's 1990s football. It's just a quarter box from October. Baseball quarter cards. Nothing. That was disappointing. But hey, I've got a quarterbacks. By the way, John Keating, slow finding the cards that I had sent you. I put them in like multiple piles. I saw you ordered a Yaz from my store, so thank you. So I'll get that card and I'll package it up with the other stuff that I was going to send you. So I'm still, I found a couple that I'm like, oh yeah, this was in John's pile. The most of them are in a box. You can kind of see, right? Those boxes down there. There's a whole bunch of boxes. And I think that's where some of my, my trade stuff is. Let's see. The dollar box says, if go to the game to hopefully catch some call-ups. Tracy, good morning to you on the road. Safe travels for you. Max says 10X, rather have him be on the Cardinals than the Dodgers. Why does nobody hate the Dodgers like they do the Yankees? It may be. I mean, the Yankees have like a century of literally a century. It's been 100 years since they've been like the dominant team. I know there were some rough patches. The 80s were not too kind to the New York Yankees. But they have like 100 years of like being really good. Yeah, the Dodgers have a pretty good history themselves, but not quite to the Yankees. I mean, now they're like putting out money like the Yankees have done. So I think it just takes time. But I think they're getting close to. I think now, especially, if they were able to pull off like a Juan Soto trade, I think the Dodgers would become the new Yankees in terms of people hating on them. Card Hobbyist says, I don't want to see Soto on the Cardinals either. Diego, meanwhile, Phillies are getting sub 200 average hitters. Cooter, don't worry, Max. I hate the Dodgers enough for everyone. Jenny says, John, curious, were people wearing any masks at the National, or was it like pre-COVID times? From the photos I saw, I wasn't there, so I can't answer it. But from the photos, it didn't look like there were too many masks, and I'm guilty of not wearing a mask. But it did look like it was non-masked. Dollar Box, can't wait for the 2023 National. I am stoked as well. Look at all that Wi-Fi signal coming through the gap in the shelf. There it is. There it is. Both sitting at home going, well, my national choice was correct now that everyone got hit with COVID. LOL, his picture did get super clear when he moved them boxes. And you know, it actually, I started having Wi-Fi connection issues again when I put that shelf in the middle of the room. Maybe there is some truth to that. Max loves Kershaw, but I love to watch Roberts and the rest burn every year. Yeah, now that the Cubs suck, it's kind of like I don't care. Like a really good friend of mine texted me yesterday, and he goes, "What do you think about the Brewers trading Josh Hader?" And it's like, I don't care. Like, I'm kind of jealous of who they got, but it doesn't bother me. Like, they're gonna be in the playoffs, and the Cubs aren't, so I don't care. However, I don't have a hatred for the Brewers. I have a hatred for the Cardinals. I'm sorry, Cardinals fans. I hate the Cardinals. I want them to lose 162 games every season. I hate the Cardinals. I don't have that. I don't have a hatred for any team like the Pack in football, the Packers and the Bears, that rivalry, although it hasn't really been a rivalry in the last 20 years or so, 15 years, whatever it's been. I dislike the Packers, but I don't hate them like I hate the Cardinals. Sorry, Cardinals fans. I hate the Cardinals. Dollar Box says I need a mesh network. I think I'm just gonna roll. New house next year. I'll get the plug in, the Ethernet or whatever, and I'll be good to go. So I'm just gonna deal with shitty Wi-Fi for 10 more months. And if I do, like, if I'm like prime time or podcasts, I'll just pick up my computer and take it into my rec room, because I get really good picture out in the rec room, but I don't want to I like sitting in here. This is my spot. So I want to sit in here when I do although it's like, it doesn't affect me. It affects you. So I should probably not be selfish like that. Paige and Dina Bean says, thanks, John, for getting him to move that. It was driving me crazy. Let's go. Redbird says, Luke's got cards. Max says, NFC North is just a joke. Packers playing teams that would go 500 in the Big Ten. So I'm approaching the 1 hour mark. Jenny's heading out. I'm going to head out. I'm going to do some more shipping and get my bulk. I'm happy to move some bulk, get some cash, which I won't be able to use at Wrigley. They're cashless, which is it. The world has done a 180 on me, and I've done a 180 on the world when it comes to cash. I never had cash, and it's like, God, I wish we were in a cashless society. Now I do card shows all the time, and I always have freaking cash, and the world is now cashless, except for card shows. And it's almost like when I go, like, I'll take a 20 out of my card show money and go get some beer. And it's almost like when I hand cash to like a cashier, they kind of look at it like, nobody pays with cash. What are you doing? Nobody pays with cash anymore. So yeah, I am now cash, and I'm going to Wrigley, and I can't use cash. At least I know now. I was really like taken off guard. I think it was right after COVID last summer when I went to Wrigley for the first time after COVID. And it's like, Wrigley's cashless. And I'm like, are you kidding? I just took out $200 in cash. What am I going to do with this $200 in cash? I guess I'm going to take it to the card show. Let's see. Cooter says, this will be my last hobby evolution for a week, driving the oldest to Virginia for grad school. See you guys next week. That is awesome, Cooter. Safe travels to you. Enjoy the trip. I'm a journey guy. John Keating is a destination guy. Cooter, what are you? If you're driving, I assume if you're driving, you're a journey guy. I like the journey more than the destination usually. I mean, I want to drive to spring training next year. I want to take an RV. I want to rent an RV and take to training. But it's like it also takes, extra time, and I either have to shorten my trip or not make money for 3 or 4 days of driving. But I think that would be fun. I think it's the journey. So Cooter's a journey guy. Dollar Box says cashless at Lambeau too. It was really nice. All self-checkouts at the food stands moved super quick. I guess that is one thing that has helped. It seems like it's more the process of concession stands are more expedited than they are with cash, and they had self-checkouts at Sloan Park in Mesa for spring training. And it was really like, and I am like non-existent with my technical knowledge. What do I do here? How do I navigate? What's going on? Can you just take my money? Card Hobbyist says Bo is a fan of Steve Perry. Yes, Journey. Low Roller Scratcher, you're late. You're in the house. It's good to see you. You need to list more basketball cards on eBay. A lot of people are buying your Magic Johnson cards. Yeah, I've had several different sales of Magic Johnson cards. I will have to look for more Magic Johnson. Dollar Box says, and the entire 78K crowd was stuck in the concourse during Lightning, so speedy checkout was a must. Let's see. Tracy says cashless at Camden Yards. I see the benefits. So yeah, sounds like a lot of the stadiums have gone cashless. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Like if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Back at it tomorrow morning. What will the, let's see, Dollar Box says, do the Cubs issue actual tickets or just a scan? So it's just, you can't, so Wrigley Field is one of, I guess, I think half to 75% of stadiums will actually print a ticket out if you ask. Wrigley is kind of hit or miss. It depends on who you ask. But usually it's just a scan. If you get the right person and ask the right questions, they'll print an actual ticket for you. But it's not as easy as some of the other places, some of the other stadiums. I'm not sure if they accept Bitcoin. So like and subscribe. See you tomorrow. Look forward to the MLB trade deadline day. And hopefully there's a flurry of activity. I'll have MLB Network on in the background, and it's always a fun day, just kind of seeing what teams trade and all that good stuff. So have a great Tuesday. Cooter, we'll see you next week. Safe travels to you. George is probably on a plane somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. Safe travels to him, and we'll talk tomorrow.